so. United, and it feels so good. Primetime's favorite couple, Fani Willis and lover boy Nathan Wade, caught on camera, and no, not like that. Here they are at LAX, which is weird because we thought they called it quits after lickety splits. At least that's what they told the judge. But what kind of friends travel together? Alone. Friends with benefits. And Nathan's got more than just a carry-on. He's packing for the whole weekend. Are they going to Belize? Napa? Maybe it's cabin season.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
No.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, we're headed to Georgia. Why are we headed to Georgia? Because we have to speak on Fani Willis. Now, Fani Willis, ever since the relationship with her and Nathan Wade was confirmed, she has been taking endless L's, just L after L after L after L. And what's been the most noticeable since then is that the propaganda wing of the DNC, which is the mainstream media, has all but completely dropped and forgot about Fani, leaving her to fend for herself. And what I want to do today is talk about one of her numerous L's that she has been taking since that confirmation has come out, that she's just as crooked as every other DNC lunatic that's tried to prosecute Donald Trump, right? But before we get into all that, what I want to do first is this. I do want to take a moment to just kind of go back and remind everybody of what happened and what has led us up to the point to where we are now, to where Fani is taking L after L after L after L. So if you may grant me a moment to take a trip down memory lane, as you can see here, for those of you who were asleep during that time period, an Atlanta, Georgia grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump on August 14th, 2023, charging him with racketeering and 12 other felonies related to his alleged attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state. Now, once this news broke, Fani Willis was on the fast track to becoming the DNC's newest breakout star. If she was able to pull off this historic moment in which they were indicting Trump on racketeering, if she actually would have pulled that off, oh my God, she would have been out of here. But her plane crashed, just like everybody else's plane typically crashes, because surprise, surprise, she was in bed, literally speaking, with another prosecutor on the case that she put on the case while she was in bed with him. So let's get into this right now, and then we're going to get into the massive L that Fani just took, because it's important to unpack all of this stuff before we get up to date and up to speed with where she is now, right? So let's jump into this right here. In January 2024, Michael Roman, a co-defendant in the case, filed a motion alleging that Willis and Wade had engaged in an improper clandestine personal relationship that began before Wade's appointment. The motion claimed that Willis benefited financially from the relationship through shared luxury vacations, suggesting a conflict of interest. Willis and Wade acknowledged their romantic involvement, but contended it commenced after Wade's hiring and denied any misuse of funds. However, testimony from Robin Yeardy, a former friend of Willis, contradicted their claims, asserting the relationship began in 2019. Judge Scott McAfee ruled in March of 2024 that while there wasn't sufficient evidence of a financial conflict of interest, the relationship created an appearance of impropriety. He stipulated that either Willis or Wade must step aside. Wade resigned shortly thereafter because he's a simp, allowing Willis to continue leading the case. Despite this, the Georgia Court of Appeals later disqualified Willis and her office from the case, citing the significant appearance of impropriety due to her relationship with Wade. The court emphasized that this was a rare instance where disqualification was necessary to maintain public confidence in the legal proceedings.
Okay, so if you would, just let's start at the beginning. Explain how you had knowledge that nobody else had that Nathan Wade was having a relationship with the DA, Fani Willis, who hired him.
I know it's a unique set of circumstances. It's really relationships. So I knew the partner. I knew Nathan Wade. I knew Nathan Wade personally. I knew Fani Willis personally. And I also knew their friends and law partners, their former friends and law partners. And so in the legal community, we were talking about this and they divulged all of this information to me. And I just sort of started tracking it down and closing different loops and investigating. And it blossomed into something that I knew I had to do something about and became actionable.
Yeah, right. And we saw it play out, months ago where the judge of the case was trying to figure out, is there a conflict of interest here? It was so obvious there was. And the irony is the case of the conflict of interest was so much stronger, actually, than the case against Donald Trump.
Now, what has happened since then? This is where we are now. Boom. Fani Willis ordered to pay $54,000 for violating open records laws in Trump case. Let's get into this next, and this is good. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been ordered to pay more than $54,000 for violating the state's open records laws in relationship to the prosecution of President Donald Trump. The county Superior Court Judge, Rachel Krause, formalized her ruling Friday and ordered Willis to pay $54,264 in attorney's fees and litigation costs after intentionally failing to provide records requested by Ashley Merchant, the attorney who filed the motion to disqualify Willis from prosecuting Trump on charges of allegedly interfering with the 2020 presidential election. Krause stated that Willis's office failed to provide documents related to the employment of Nathan Wade, the former special assistant district attorney forced to resign from the Trump case due to his romantic relationship with Willis, once again, because he was a simp. Merchant believed that Willis and Wade may have financially benefited from Wade's appointment as the special prosecutor in the case. Defendants, through the open records custodian Dexter Bond, were openly hostile to conceal for plaintiff Miss Merchant and testified that Miss Merchant's requests were handled differently than other requests, the court order said. Bond, who testified that his usual practice was to call a requester to receive additional information to fulfill requests, indicated that he refused to communicate with Merchant by telephone, the court order stated, and I quote, "While there is no requirement under the ORA for Mr. Bond to call any requester about a particular request, Mr. Bond's handling of Miss Merchant's request in this manner indicates a lack of good faith," the order said. Defendants' failures were intentional, not done in good faith, and were subsequently groundless and vexatious. Merchant, who reacted to the ruling in a post on X Friday, said she was proud that we have judges willing to hold people in power accountable when they ignore the law. And that's really all that we're asking for at the end of the day, is that people in power get held accountable, like Fani Willis, like Big Tush in New York, and so many others. We just want to see them held accountable because no one is above the law. And as we round this article out, the DA's office has 30 days from the court's order to pay the penalty. The plaintiff also received injunctive relief directing Willis to finally provide the requested documents. And I'm pretty sure once those requested documents get released, there will be more to cover in the endless L's of Fani Willis. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please, once again, do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important that you do so. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.